Right, hello and welcome to another video. As I said, we're going to be doing the eagle today. Yep, this is my inflatable eagle. I bought this mainly to try out the open face design because I've never had a costume like this where, you know, you've got a whole open face visible. But yeah, I thought I'll try out these costumes, and this was just the one I wanted to buy. Not so sure if the fan is struggling or what. But yeah, this is, like I said, is the eagle. I can kind of, but it's very hard. Hold on, let me set this down. And that's like the best I can kind of get it with just my hands. Like I said, you can like use like a clothes peg and that. I'm not using it for today because it's like I'm a bit lazy and I don't feel that bothered to do it. But you kind of get the look that, you know, you could just close up the holes, the armholes. But yeah, if I'm going to do something a little weird. I can, with my other arm, you can't really move the beak really much because of what it does. And I think it's over there. Yep. Triangle. Yeah, like I said, you can kind of animate it, but not fully. Because, yeah. Something like that. Oh, my elbow getting a bit stuck in it. But of course, you know, like I said, the costume really wants you to do, you know, that, you know, put your arms through, otherwise all the air escapes. Plus the fact, actually, I can grab the phone again. Even, you know, but yeah, I can grab the phone again, and basically, yeah, even the even the open hole, it's a bit terrible because it's not really a secure hood, so you know, there's basically air always escaping almost all around. I guess it kind of gives me that kind of like, oh, it's kind of cool feeling, but actually I should raise it a bit. And I can, because, you know, I've got hands available, otherwise I would have to stop the thing. But, you know, like I said, it's, you know, with the open hole, it's just not good. It does have like a tiny inflatable tail, if I remember rightly. I could be wrong, actually, I kind of forgot. Like I said, I haven't worn this for ages. Actually, I can just wiggle it. Maybe I'll just wiggle it. I can't remember if it's got a single tail because it's been ages. Like I said, this is like the eagle. I don't really, like I said, I don't really wear this one really much because, like I said, I bought it just to kind of give the open. Let's see, the open face inflatable costumes to try, because I can't really say I'm a costume enthusiast. I can't say I'm like a very costume fan and, like, you know, a collector if I'm not gonna try out the very brand new designs. But yeah, like I said, I bought this because I thought it would be good, and they didn't say anything about the arms, so I thought they were more enclosed, but they're not. So, oh well. Yeah, like I said, you can kind of bounce in it. it's quite wiggly. I don't even have to move. Just have to use my shoulders. That's just using my shoulders to bounce it. It's got quite the belly. So, there's my belly. So yeah, it's quite round. It's quite of a round inflatable feet covers. You know, the inflatable feet that, you know, inflate over your foot. Well, on the top of it anyway. It's not like other, you know, not like the ones that I really more prefer, which inflate around your foot, not just above it. But it's better than, you know, it's better than most. But you know, it's better than, you know, basically the you know, just the sheet on it, which is what this has here. So, you know, just thin plastic sheet. You can kind of sheave it all nice and just thin. Oh, I forgot where it is. Is it that side? Actually, I can probably see if I think it's that side. Yeah, it's that side. I see it now. Also, and this is definitely going to come up in the pros and cons. If I can feel it there. It has a pocket here. But yeah, it has a little pocket on the side. It does have, you would see it, it's like, you know, it does have, like, for some reason it's branded. I'll get to that. But yeah, like I said, you've got a little pocket on the right side, which is quite interesting. And like I said, I'm going to talk about that more in the pros and cons a little bit, because like I said, because it's, you know, it's not common for most costumes to even have that kind of thing. But like I said, I will say in the pros and cons that it's not that great, but it's great enough. Anyway, because I can't really animate, and because I can't really animate them, you know, the head very well, you know, because it's like I said, I need to use, like, you know, I need to, like, block off the holes, the armholes, to even be able to really have a more control, to a point, because like I said, I can't really do the mouth. I can do the eyes, but that's kind of it, and I guess wiggle the head if I had, you know, my arm was in there. But yeah, that's, like I said, that's the inflatable eagle. And hopefully you enjoyed this little review. And anyway, yeah. Right, I'm gonna have to do this in a very weird way. Right, like I said, this is going to be a very weird video to film. This is a kind of in look, like I said, not fully inflated, because, well, this is, like I said, it's going to be super difficult to film any of this costume. Maybe in the future, as long as I definitely still have this costume in the future, I could really show you. There's a bit of the zipper sticking out. The zipper is not up and down, it's like left and right, which makes getting in and out a bit difficult. Yeah, this is, like, I've done it inside out, but you can kind of the equals opposite. This is, like I said, this is the hood area. You put your focus or not. Focus. You put your head through there. Actually, if I just a bit of a better view. See, there's like a second hood here, but like this is the hood you go in. Of course, like I said, that would be on. If I pull it inwards again, that'll be. I'm trying to get the best view. But my head's a bit in the way. Yeah, it's a bit like that. This is the reason why I can't really mess with the mouth, because it's just a small hole, and you know, already my finger is a bit, you know, and like this is why I can't mess with the mouth, the beak of the eagle, because there's just this small hole and I can't really go really far into it to basically do anything. But of course, you know, you've got this bit here to help with the winking. If you know, pull a bit of this seam. Of course, careful, especially if your seam is a bit like that, where it's a bit like, oh, it's not, you know, it's a bit messy in some places. Of course, you know, when you do any inflatable costume, you know, make sure you don't actually go about breaking it. You know your limits of what you can do in the costume, and how well built it is in a way for that. But yeah, like I said, you can just pull that, and that's how I've been basically doing the eye winks. I did try to do that, which was kind of easy because it wasn't really inflated. But of course, if I was to block off all the holes, that wouldn't work. So, you know, I basically have to do the pinch down, a pinch over here, and pull downwards to do the wink. And then this is where the little inflatable tail is. But again, small little hole, can't really do anything because it's too small to do anything other than like maybe put my finger and slightly wiggle. That might slightly work, but it's not going to look really great, and it probably won't translate to too much. But yeah, that's all I got to show you, because like I said, there isn't really anything else that I can show you. That's the eagle for you. Even like I said, it's going to be a very scuffed inside view, unlike my other ones. Like I said, it would help to get like a little smaller camera, and yeah, basically you know, blocking up these holes next time. But anyways, yeah, like I said, if you want me to do this again, but maybe a bit better, more, you know, like it actually more inflated inside, then I could do that. That is possible. That is possible. But yeah, this is the best I can kind of do with what I'm doing now, anyway. If I had more time to film and stuff, you know. Anyway, on to the next part of the video. Right, it's time for the pros and cons of this costume. The pros: has a large enough pockets, but it is on the outside, and I would say that's a bit of a con, seeing how someone could more easily steal any valuables you put in it. But it's still cool to see a inflatable costume design with some more larger storage to hold things in. Not something that is quite commonplace on these inflatable costumes. The most you normally get is just enough space to hold the battery box, and that is also inside of the costume, not on the outside of it. But with this pocket, you could carry much more. And the zipper has a large enough flap to hide, you know, the zipper rail from view. Of course, as long as you make sure the flap is over it, of course. If you don't do that, then of course the zipper rail is probably going to be visible. And certainly that's kind of all the pros that I kind of have of this costume. It was very difficult to even think of like exactly like highlight pros of this costume, because yeah, it's time to get into kind of the bad bits, which is of course the cons. The hole for your face is too large, but to put the hood on, you know, just to wear it, that is a tight fitting. Trust me, it is so tight even for my head shape that it's a bit of a struggle. It's like, you know, all got to do left, right, a bit of front, a bit of back, you know, like really, like, you know, really tug it down very slowly, of course, to get my head through. It's a bit contradicting in a way. It's like I said, it's like the outside is too large, but the inside of the hood is too small. So it's like, I don't know. It's not really a size fitting for really anyone in a way. It's not particularly good for any size head shape. Now this one is going to be a minor con, but I would still say that it's still worth a mention. Because it's not too much of a problem, but it's still a tiny problem, and I know that some people would probably struggle, especially people who have never worn an inflatable costume before, would have a bit of problem with this costume, which is to get in the costume. Due to how the zipper placement is different from all the other like costumes, because it's more from all the more common costumes you can buy, which is like, you know, the zipper for this costume, it goes from left to right of you. not up or down, you know, from your neck to, you know, your crotch area, you know, down that way. This one doesn't have that one. This costume isn't designed like that. Like I said, it's left to right, and they have put it a bit low as well. Like if they put this left to right zipper a bit higher, I bet you it'd be a less of a struggle. It'd be a bit of struggle getting in, but to like get your head out and all that such, I bet you it'd be a lot more easier. Like I said, this is a minor con. It doesn't affect the score too much, but it's still like, you know, like I said, it's still worth to point out that it is not going to be easy for most people to even get in this costume, especially someone who hasn't even played with an inflatable costume before. Another minor con I have, and this one might be a bit picky, you might disagree on me in this one, but I feel like this is justified. This con is, well, they have plastered their branding on it, where the pocket is. It's pretty big enough to not be missed, more so up close, and you probably noticed it during my recording. Before I may even get comments about this, yes, I know my Jurassic World ones also had some branding on them too, but that was properly official merch for the movie, you know, like full license and all. But the thing is, on the other hand, this costume has no reason to be doing that. The only reason they've put it on is basically like free advertising. Basically, if you go out suiting it in public, you know, you're basically going, this costume is, you know, by this company, and so like I said, you just turn into a small walking billboard. And it's like, well, it would have been alright if it was more smaller or somehow out of sight, maybe just inside the costume where only you get to see or something. It would be less of a eyesore in a way. You're not buying a billboard costume at all. So it's like I said, I don't think it should be there at all. It should have been, they should have just skipped over that. I get that they want to do some advertising, or like, you know, like brand it in some way so you know that this is exactly their costume, but it's like, you know, it ruins the look. It's a bit invasive, you know. Now it's time for my final verdict of this costume. I am going to give it a reasonable 4 out of 10, because why, it's not grey and it's not like a middle ground of like, yeah, it's kind of good but kind of bad. It's definitely got a bit more bad parts to it than I would like to admit, because of course, honestly, I of course be upfront with you, and like I said, it's like there is definitely some things that are like definitely going to make it worse for other people to wear. Like I said, I don't wear it very much either, because that kind of tells you how much of like, yeah, I don't like it too much. I wear it now and then, but it's very rare, you know. It's not one of my most like fun costumes to wear. So like I said, I give it a 4 out of 10, but yeah, that's going to be my score for the costume. Right, thank you for watching. Hope to see you in whatever video that may be. And goodbye. If you enjoyed, don't forget you can subscribe and perhaps hit that bell to not miss a video. Also, we do have a Discord server, and yes, on that server we do sometimes talk about costumes as well. We do have a costume channel for all that topic. Just be sure to go to the Royal Picker channel to unlock the channel. Anyways, my name is Fluffy Chops, and goodbye.